So, after a journey of nearly 2 months, on June 25, 2024, China's Chang'e 6 spacecraft successfully brought back samples from the far side of the Moon to Earth safely. The capsule containing 2 kilograms of lunar soil and rocks landed in the Inner Mongolia desert in China. This is the first time China has conducted a sample return mission from the far side of the Moon, and they did not make any mistakes, making China the first country in the world to obtain samples from the far side of the Moon. At exactly 14:07 Beijing time on June 25, 2024, the sample return capsule appeared in the sky and gradually descended to the Inner Mongolia region in northern China using a parachute. The capsule landed safely, ending the historic 53-day journey. During re-entry, the capsule's outer shell was scorched due to friction with the atmosphere, but the sample chamber remained intact and undamaged. At this moment, officials turned the capsule upright, and 4 young scientists inspected the interior and collected the precious cargo they had long awaited, approximately 2 kilograms of lunar soil and rocks from the far side of the Moon. Since its launch, Chang'e 6 has not encountered any errors and has successfully completed its mission. Enthusiasts worldwide have praised the Chang'e 6 mission team. The successful landing of the spacecraft's capsule is of great significance for China's space exploration program in general and the Chang'e mission in particular. This is not the first time lunar samples have been brought back to Earth. Previously, the Soviet Union, the United States, and China's Chang'e 5 successfully brought samples from the near side of the Moon back to Earth. However, this is the first time samples from the far side of the Moon have been successfully brought back to Earth. To date, no country has successfully landed on the far side of the Moon, but China has landed there twice. The first time was during the Chang'e 4 mission in 2019, and this time, after 4 years, Chang'e 6 has retrieved 2 kilograms of soil and rock samples from the far side of the Moon and brought them back to Earth. The far side of the Moon is considered to be significantly different from the near side and is much more challenging to land on due to the greater distance and communication difficulties. To address this issue, China launched a relay satellite in March 2024 to facilitate communication between the orbiter, lander, and ground control team. Since they had never possessed samples from the far side of the Moon, scientists are eagerly awaiting this delivery. But why the far side? The Moon always has 2 faces, the visible side, also known as the near side, and the side not visible from Earth, known as the far side. Although we can never observe the far side from Earth, spacecraft can photograph and observe it. The Soviet Union's Luna 3 spacecraft first photographed the far side of the Moon in 1959. Since then, several other spacecraft have captured images of the far side, including NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter and China's Chang'e 4. Images of the far side reveal that it is covered with more craters and has fewer dark plains, known as Maria, compared to the near side. Scientists have always been curious about this difference. By analyzing the returned samples, they hope to better understand the Moon's and Earth's evolution processes. The samples will also help answer mysteries related to asteroid impacts and the early state of the young Earth. Additionally, China hopes to gain insights into the resources available on Earth's natural satellite for use in future space missions. It is currently unclear whether China will share the samples with international scientific organizations, but it is unlikely they will be shared with NASA, as the 2 space agencies are currently rivals in the space race, often compared in every mission. However, with a unique approach, China is becoming the dominant force in the far side of the Moon. Next, China plans to launch Chang'e 7 and 8 in 2026 and 2028, respectively, with Chang'e 8 tasked with testing the necessary technology to establish a lunar base that China plans to build near the ice-rich South Pole in the 2030s. Currently, information about the Chang'e 6 mission is scarce, and it is unclear whether China's lunar lander is still operational. However, NASA recently announced that its Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, LRO, photographed the Chang'e 6 lander's landing site on the Moon. The LRO, NASA's spacecraft orbiting the Moon, detected the lander in the Apollo basin on June 7, 2024, about 5 days after it landed. The lander appeared as a small, bright spot in the center of the image, and the LRO team noted that the surrounding terrain was brightened due to engine disturbances similar to the impact areas around other lunar landers. Although NASA did not land on the far side of the Moon, they closely monitor all activities on the Moon, with their spacecraft tracking and detecting every landing by other countries. Chang'e 6 is named after the Chinese moon goddess. The spacecraft consists of 4 main parts: an orbiter, a lander, an ascent vehicle to collect samples, and a re-entry module. It also carries a mini rover. The Chang'e 6 mission was launched on a Long March 5 rocket from Hainan Island, China, on May 3, 2024. It took over a month to transit and finally landed in the Apollo crater in the South Pole Aitken Basin on June 2, 2024, the largest and oldest impact crater on the Moon. While in the crater, Chang'e 6's mission was to collect 2 kilograms of lunar soil and rocks using a scoop and drill before ascending to rendezvous with the orbiter to transfer the samples back to Earth. The orbiter carrying the sample capsule left the Moon on June 21st and landed safely using a parachute on June 25, 2024. The success of Chang'e 6 comes at a time of increasing ambition for China's space programs. Recently, China has landed rovers on the Moon and Mars and completed the construction of the Tiangong space station in 2022. China is also leading efforts to build an international lunar research station, expected to be completed by 2030. Eventually, they plan to land a crew on the Moon, establishing a sustainable human presence on Earth's natural satellite. Congratulations to the Chang'e 6 mission for its success, and we hope these valuable samples from the far side will help illuminate many mysteries of the distant side of the Moon.